It's Christmas Eve. How dare you make me watch Star Trek Discovery? No, they could have taken a week off, or they could have done a holiday-themed special. They should have done something else than just give us the answer. Yeah, spoilers. Gonna have full spoilers. The answer to the burn that was the big mysterious thing that they've built up all season like it's actually important. Hello, everyone. I am Mecha Random 42, the one, the only, the original, your favorite YouTube consumer advocate, Harpy. We are talking today about the most recent episode of Star Trek Discovery. What's it called? Suckalot, Sakara, Skara. We're doing an episode on Skara. Sorry, I'm not going to have time to edit in a bunch of these references, but please, if you do know who Skara is, I would much rather be watching his story right now than anything happening on Star Trek Suckle Discovery. This won't be monetized, will it? If you guys do like my content, though, please like, subscribe, share. Star Trek Discovery. The most recent episode starts off with the continuation of the service for our fallen evil Empress Mirror Giorgio, who went back in time or something in the last episode. I don't care anymore. Also, so they're mourning this woman. Did any of the crew even realize that Captain Giorgio was she's a little off today. She's a little different. She's a little off. Her person, in the past couple of years, I should say, she was a normal, nice person, and now she's a sadistic person with a fetish for leather. Yeah, did the rest of the crew even know she was from the Mirror Universe? I want to know. Probably not. Probably not. This episode features, we start off, apparently, Adira's imaginary friend Gray is back now. Because, why? Because why? I guess they remembered they had the actor on the payroll. This really is the only reason. We have this distress signal that they set up in the last episode that I completely glossed over because it really had nothing to do with that episode. So they have this distress signal. They have a Kelpian from Kaminar, a female version of Saru, who we see she's supposed to have radiation burns on her forehead. Actually, she's pregnant. Okay, so they want to go on this rescue mission for this character that we don't know or see anywhere, and it's a very typical Star. I will say that about this. I have a positive thing to say about Star Trek Discovery. I know it must be the time of year for it. This actually almost felt like a Star Trek episode. It has kind of a Star Trek-y sort of premise. The execution, not so much, but the premise and what happens, not so much. When we're not busy seeing Michael Burnham convince Tilly that she can take over as acting captain, because yes, you're putting an ensign who didn't even go to Starfleet in the captain's chair. Clearly, this is just a starship full of people who cheated their way through life, who are handed everything whether they earned it or not, and now we've got the consequences of that. Everybody makes poor decisions. Everybody makes like putting Tilly in charge, and she even cries. She has a good old cry with Michael Burnham saying, I'm not ready. Of course you're ready. You're Tilly. You're the bestest thing ever because I'm Michael Burnham and I'm better than you, and I say that you're better than everything. With the whisper acting, and I'm trying to rush through this because I know I'm not gonna have time to edit this today. Why Michael Burnham has to give Tilly a little pep talk so she can be acting captain, you know, maybe that's why you rise up through the ranks, you know, so you have a few little tastes of like, oh, well, you're the head of an away mission, and now you're the head of your own little science department or whatever, and then you can pretend to be captain for a little bit, for about a minute, you know. Weren't there more qualified people? Weren't there people of higher rank that they could have, you know, like Stamets would have been a better choice since he was left behind anyway, even though he's got to man the spore drive. Oh, well, maybe. That's kind of the problem when you have somebody who has to control your spore drive. That's, you know, the only person who can actually do that because they've genetically modified and altered. Altified themselves. They've genetically altified themselves. I'm trying to say 3 words at once here. The whole plot of this is not Stamets. Stamets is back on the ship. What am I talking about? Culber, his husband, Dr. Culber, who we actually see doing doctory things, like going on an away mission where somebody might need medical help. And this is where I'm like, oh my god, they got a Star Trek thing right in Star Trek finally. It only took them 3 seasons. It only took him 3. So we got the Doctor going on an away mission. You got Saru deciding to go. Now, he should have sent anybody else, but he sends himself because he's a Kelpian and he wants to see other Kelpians really, really, really bad. And now I know what you're thinking. The captains always disobey the advice of their first officers all the time to go on away missions. And yeah, they've done that from time to time in the past. Yes, they have. Here's the thing, though. Nobody told Captain Saru he shouldn't be going on the away mission except the Admiral. Admiral, the Magi from the Mummy, that guy. So yeah, and of course Saru's like, no, I promise I'm okay. I'm up to the... No, you're really not. Like I said, this is just a ship full of people who really, really... And Saru rose to the ranks too, but I guess... Nobody more qualified cared. Nobody more qualified cared to... This chair is bothering me. I don't want it in frame. I went with my short one. That's why I'm shorter now on the screen. So I went with my shorter chair so it's in frame. My chair is more interesting than talking about Star Trek Discovery. Sorry about that. Where were we? Oh, yes. Saru! He's heading the away mission. He brings Michael Burnham because of course he does. I mean, you can't have an away mission without Michael Burnham. She's the bestest thing ever in the universe. And Dr. Culber. So they end up beaming down into this like nebula. Oh, it looks like the Death Star. If you want like me actually kind of reacting to this as I watched it, I'm going to post some either on Instagram or Parler or Twitter. Twitter. I almost said Twitter instead of Twitch. And because I thought I was saying Twitch. Oh, but tangents. It's one of these days. Like I said, probably not going to have a whole lot of time to edit out or edit in anything here, so sorry about that. Green screen's good though, right? Yay. They go down to the planet because there's this lone survivor, and they realize, oh yeah, it wouldn't be the person we saw leave the distress signal. It's much, much later than that, so it would have been the descendant. They had a son, they had a child, and of course it unravels that there's this big scary smoke monster who was, I guess... part of this program. It's all a holodeck program, basically. They don't say it's a holodeck because it's not a deck. They also give Burnham this line where she says, this must be some sort of really advanced holographic simulation. You know, like the ones you guys had on Discovery in season 1, you know, that you weren't supposed to have because holodecks weren't quite a thing yet in the time of Discovery. But, you know, We'll forgive the little inconsistencies and say, you know what, it's a holiday. I'll give him the fact that that's at least they should not know what a holodeck is. We looked into the writer for this, too. Rob looked into it right before while I was getting my makeup on. And he was telling me that this writer has worked on Battlestar Galactica, Eureka. The woman who wrote this episode, I believe it's a woman. Forgive me if I'm not remembering correctly. She's written for a lot of science fiction-y sort of things, and you can kind of tell in this episode that this is somebody who kind of has some understanding, but then she also probably had these little studio notes of, oh, can we have a Michael Burnham and Tilly cry scene, because this is crybaby Trek for people who cry all the time, and or like watching it on screen. And also, trigger warning if you do like Discovery. This episode, like I said, I can have some positive things to say about it. It at least seems like somebody paid attention. It kind of reminded me of, okay, you go down to a planet, you want to rescue somebody, you're going to leave somebody in charge to buy time. Oh, that's the thing. They left Tilly in charge, and she didn't realize she had to buy time. It was just going to be this little quickie. We're going to go down to the planet and see what happened. But, there's a giant planet made of dilithium that, of course, everybody in the galaxy is going to want to have their hands on, even though it's kind of hidden in this nebula. Yeah, the whole planet's made of freaking dilithium. Guess who comes back? Green Orion chick, you know, the one who can't move her mouth. It looks like she's got Botox all over her face and can't move. It's really the makeup, but it's terrible. Watch my other reviews if you want a picture of that. She plays this little nasty... It reminds me of Twitter. It reminds me of interacting with some of the people on Twitter who love Discovery, where they have to... It's a clapback! Oh, it's a Twitter clapback between this Orion captain who we've been seeing for the past few episodes here and there for this season. This is a recurring character, and it's terrible. And Tilly... where, oh, you're clearly not capable of being in that captain's chair. And Tilly's like, you're just projecting. Neener. Ugh, this is what I hate about current modern day crap that needs to get the crap out of my Star Trek. Thank you very much. And that it just reminded me way too much of Twitter beefs that I have with these people. So while Tilly and Orion are having their little Twitter clap back, snap back, thank you very much crap, while they're doing their little, oh, you're just projecting and Nina and you don't know Freud, so clearly you didn't, and just because, oh, you know how people argue on Twitter, that's what they put in this episode, and that's where I'm like, oh, just shut up already. This captain, clearly, because Tilly's clearly not ready. And that's the whole problem I have with this entire series, is they have a crew of people who clearly are not capable. Because young people today are so much younger now than they were 20 years ago when Star Trek was still good. Because what did you see on Star Trek? You saw young, up-and-coming, bright, like the best of the best officers. Now we got a ship full of screw-ups who are too worried about their feelings and their identities and their superficial crap than they are about doing the job. You know, they can't set any of that stuff aside. They can't prioritize. And that's what's wrong in just society in general right now, is that nobody can kind of see the forest for the trees. Everybody's so wrapped up in their own little personal crap that they can't see the bigger picture out there. And that's just a side tangent. So of course, because Tilly's super incompetent and shouldn't even be on the as an acting captain, of course the Orion just transports everybody over. Of course, while she's distracted, because Tilly's like, oh, I need a few minutes so I can jump. Because, oh, they also have cloaks now. They have they've cloaked their ship because this Orion followed them. I guess she scanned them. They're not supposed to be able to follow. Oh, but she could track their jump signature, which is where I'm like, oh, okay, now I can see where the Battlestar Galactica writing came in, because they could track the jump signature. This really reminds me a lot of a Battlestar Galactica episode. Now I just want to watch that, because that was just done so much better. I'm blaming a lot more and more on the edit and the direction of Star Trek Discovery, I think, than the writing on this episode. Because the writing could have worked a little bit better had they cut out the little crybaby Trek stuff. And maybe a few episodes back they had not put Tilly in charge. But I guess that's how you show the drama. Because if you had a competent person there, they would have done whatever they could to not let the Orions beam over. Because the Orions beamed over. They didn't think about that. Oh yeah, our shields are down. Let's cloak. Let's go and cloak. Hey, we've been retrofit with this cloak now, so we're gonna just hide. Yeah, and guess what happens when you cloak? Dummies, your shields drop. Your shields drop, and people can transport over, especially if they can scan where you were or just assume where you were. They'll just put you on their freaking coordinates because you're not like moving out, you're not like flying around while you're cloaked. You're just sitting in the exact same location that you were when you're cloaked. Oh, that's not even getting into what went on in the planet. So what went on in the planet is they found this surviving, I must have called him a Kaminar, Kelpian from Kaminar. They found the surviving Kelpian on the planet, and he was the only person there, basically raised himself by the holodeck programs, by these holographic programs to teach him and kind of raise him and groom him. But he has no social skills. He's still very childlike and very youthful. Saru's emotions are getting in the way all over the place. Oh, and in this episode, they, I guess, wanted to showcase Doug Jones without the makeup. They all appear as the hologram teachings were, so the hologram takes over and transforms Michael Burnham into a Trill. Dr. Culber gets transformed into a Bajoran, and Saru becomes human because clearly the Kelpian's going to have a problem with a Kelpian, with seeing another Kelpian. Or two humans and a Kelpian. I mean, so why would they make any of them human if you had two humans? That's one of the things that don't make sense in this. Oh, well, you have to kind of match the teaching programs, or else he'll be confused. Well, he knows that there's teaching programs, so he's just going to assume everything's a freaking teaching program no matter what he sees. So it doesn't matter if you change the way they look just because reasons. I did like seeing Doug Jones out of the makeup. He's actually one of the better parts of this show. Stamets is one of the better parts of this show. If they tone down Michael Burnham being the bestest thing ever, I think they'll really almost have something that's almost as good as the worst episodes of Enterprise. Almost. So, and that's kind of where we're leaving this. This is like a bad Enterprise episode. That's where this one is. We're getting into deep, heavy spoilers. So, spoilers. Spoilers. I don't even know if they got him off the ship. Oh, they did. It ended in a freaking... That's why. It ended as it's a two-parter. It's a two-parter. I had to stop myself and go back and look. I'm like, wait a minute. No. We don't know yet. It doesn't matter. That's next week. We gotta wait until next week to find out if they even fix everything, get him off the planet or not. Did I say ship? I meant planet. Oh, so there's a lot of radiation on this planet. We leave this episode with Tilly being surrounded by the crew of this Orion ship. So she's got like Andorians and all these, diversity aliens, I suppose. Michael Burnham actually goes and beams up to Book's ship because Book's like, I can take my little ship in there and I can go and see what's going on. Oh, and then there's this other weird part. So Adira is now... got over the, I can't see Gray. Gray appeared to me now. So that was just wrapped up in like one little split second. So now Adira is a fully functional member of the crew. So Adira steals Jet Reno's badge, gets onto Book's ship, decides, yes, I'm going to go down there and take all this medicine to everybody. So yeah, that's a very Star Trek kind of thing to do. If you have a crew member who's not technically a crew member, they can be like, I'm going to volunteer for this and I'm not part of your chain of command. So you can't really... But yeah, I'm here to help, and that's what's kind of happening there with that character, the Adira character. The human who has all the Trill symbiotes and prefers the they them pronoun. Because we had to hear it 9 times last time in the episode where they dropped the they thems. Which only confuses people who don't speak English natively, by the way. They ask, does this mean they're multiple? Well, kind of in this case, yeah. So the they, them is misused. It's a missed opportunity for diversity and inclusion and representation. Not that we care or it matters anymore. But, where was I? Michael Burnham comes onto Book's ship, beams up, and that's pretty much where we leave it. So she's covered in radiation burns, Michael Burnham. She gets her little inoculation. Now, they do beam down with hypos and everything, but because of the I guess they need an excuse to stretch it out to 2 parts and to take Saru out of makeup, really, with a holographic thing. Because the only reasoning why they're out of their uniforms that they beam down in, and like Michael Burnham shows up as a little Red Riding Hood Trill in a red cloak for some reason. Yeah, I guess it's just to have this plot device of time, to have the clock countdown of, we only have so much time on the planet. Very Star Trek-y, very sci-fi, a very Battlestar Galactica. We only have a certain amount of time on this radioactive planet. So that really reminded me of like a lazy sort of, this is one of the problems with Star Trek Discovery, is so much of it is screwed up that when you have somebody kind of halfway competent come in who knows some sci-fi and knows some tropes and knows how to build suspense reasonably, right? Knows how to write and structure something, some very Star Trek-y things in there. You still have the for no reason crap with probably the 22 people that it takes to produce this mess. So it's a cliffhanger. If we want to see what happened, do they rescue? What's his name? Does Tilly get the ship back? Who knows? We're going to find out next week because this is a 2-parter. Happy Christmas for everybody for a 2-parter. Now I got to pretend to care. Pretend to care what happens to them next week. You know what? If I wasn't doing this for YouTube, if you guys didn't enjoy me recapping these, I wouldn't even be watching this crap. I would have moved on to, Japanese coin pushing videos and variety channels like Iga Channel. Anywho, I am Mecha Random 42. Have a Merry Christmas. I will see you guys on the next video, live stream, or wherever. Bye. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye! Of course, I forgot to tell you who started the burn. It was the dumb kid having a little reaction to the radiation like he's a freaking superhero. Right? So the kid is on this planet with all this radiation. I can't believe, because it was so dumb. And he's the one who started the freaking burn. He just went boom, and he's a stupid Marvel superhero that they're putting in. And I don't mean Marvel superheroes are stupid. I mean, it's stupid to put that in Star Trek. That this radiation he adapted in one generation. He just mutated this adverse reaction to this giant poof in 1 minute, I'm hearing squeaking in the background. Somebody didn't deafen themselves, or I didn't. yes, making Raw from Midnight's Edge suffer with that too. And that's how the burn started, was this, it's just this poof and this nuclear reaction sort of thing that goes off and hits every single spaceship at the same point in time. Are you kidding? That's how the burn, oh, he'll cause another burn. That's the burn, and that's the burn, and that's the burn. And that's the burn, like, that's the thing. The burn happened, and it blew, and it went poof, all of the dilithium at the same time in the galaxy. That's the burn. That's the burn.